Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here this afternoon. My name is Keith Acree. I'm the Communications Director for the Department of Adult Correction. We have 4 people today who will have remarks for you. First, you'll hear from Secretary Todd Ishii with the North Carolina Department of Adult Correction. After that, it'll be Sheriff Charles Blackwood from Orange County. Following him will be Special Agent in Charge Bob DeWitt from the FBI's Charlotte Field Office. And then finally, we'll have Glenn McNeil, the U.S. Marshal for the Eastern District of North Carolina. So I'll turn it over to Secretary Ishii to get started. Sir?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We are very thankful to be here today with escaped murderer Ramon Alston safely back in custody. His recapture happened without injury to anyone, which is a significant and reassuring outcome for all of us. Today, Alston is in a cell at the high security maximum control unit at Granville Correctional Center. Granville is the most secure unit in our state prison system. He will resume serving his life sentence there and could face additional charges related to his escape. While we can't provide specifics about how Alston was located, I can assure you it was the result of exceptional investigative work and dedication from the team that was assembled to work this escape. I'm grateful for the people standing here with me today and the hundreds of officers, deputies, agents, and investigators who they represent that all work so hard this week with great collaboration to bring Alston back into custody. We will be working with our federal partners to review information and determine if any individuals are eligible for reward funds. We're conducting an internal investigation and an after-action review that will identify areas for improvement based on lessons we learned during this incident. I'd particularly like to thank Orange County Sheriff Charles Blackwood for the amazing support and resources offered by him and his staff this week. The FBI and the United States Marshal Service were critically important too, providing investigators, analysts, tactical teams, and reward money to help in this effort. The Orange County Emergency Services and Emergency Management Team organized us all very well and very effectively. They planned the 2-day ground search and operations in areas immediately around the hospital where this incident took place. We are grateful for the expertise they brought to this operation. The list of others who assisted is lengthy, but I'd like to take a moment to run through it quickly to thank all of those men and women who contributed to this successful outcome. Sheriff's offices from Vance County, Chatham, Durham, Person, and Alamance counties. Police departments from Hillsborough, Chapel Hill, and Carrboro all provided valuable resources. The North Carolina State Highway Patrol provided air support and ground support. Durham Technical Community College provided all of us with plenty of workspace on their Orange County campus. UNC Hospitals Police were very supportive and cooperative, and we greatly appreciate their partnership in providing health care for our offender population. Last night, the FBI SWAT team, Kannapolis Police, and Charlotte Mecklenburg Police were on the scene when Alston was captured. We thank them for going into harm's way to capture Alston. Many other law enforcement offices this week checked leads within their jurisdictions when they got a call, and we cannot thank them enough. I'd like to thank the North Carolina Department of Public Safety for support from ALE agents and for the use of this press facility today. And finally, as we wrap up, thank you to all of our Department of Adult Correction staff who have helped in countless ways through this entire event. I apologize as we move forward if I left anyone out, but bottom line is I truly appreciate this cooperative and collaborative effort And I'll tell you, it was none like I've experienced in my corrections career. I'm extremely grateful to everyone who assisted, and will now turn back over to Keith. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you all for being here. Director Shee, I want to say to you personally that when you came to North Carolina, we were extremely proud of the person that stepped into the role that you've assumed, and I've never been more proud to call you my friend and colleague. I just want to say that. The other thing I want to talk about is the partnerships that we have had over the last couple of days. The partnerships weren't formed overnight. They formed over time. And one person whose name has not been mentioned needs to be mentioned, and that is Kirby Saunders. He is the Emergency Service Director for Orange County, and he taught me several years ago about a program that works when you're trying to find lost people. Well, that program works when you're trying to find people who want to be lost too. And he did an amazing job of bringing resources together and getting us in the same room, and J.B. Buxton gave us that room at Durham Technical College to come together and work as a team in a collaborative effort like nothing I've ever experienced before. There were no margins, no lines, no delineation between agencies. One badge, one mission, one purpose. So Kirby, thank you very, very much for that. We mentioned that Jacobia Crisp, an accomplice, was taken into custody in Alamance County. She is in Alamance County detention now and will be coming to Orange County soon, and will have her first appearance there. The investigation into what actually took place, rather than speculation from everyone about what took place, will hopefully lead us to the facts about what happened. So I would ask everybody to be patient as that investigation continues. I do want to say one thing about the world that we live in and the job that I have. When I was a very young child, my dad told me, find a vocation you truly enjoy and you'll never work a day in your life. My dad was never more true than when he said that. And with all the talk that's been going on about recruitment and retention in law enforcement, I'll tell you, if you're looking for a job where you can truly feel like you're doing something positive for someone else, this is that job. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Bob DeWitt. I'm the special agent in charge for the FBI in North Carolina. I'll be brief. Just want to say thank you all for coming out to hear a little bit about the actions that were taken over the past 24 hours. But most of all, I just want to echo the sentiments expressed earlier by the Secretary, the Sheriff, and the U.S. Marshal. I've been in law enforcement for 22 years, and I have never seen an effort like this work with such synchronicity as I have over the past few days. There were no personalities that interfered with the investigation, and the folks that were on the ground doing the work that needed to be done worked shoulder to shoulder from beginning to end. Many of them still have not slept. So I could not be more grateful for the partnerships represented by the leaders that you see here on the stage and the men and women that they represent. So just grateful for the resolution to this, the fact that it was ended safely for everybody involved. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Glenn McNeil, the Marshal, United States Marshal for the Eastern District of North Carolina, and it's an honor and privilege to stand before you. The Marshal Service has a long-standing history of partnering with our federal, state, and local law enforcement partners. And on August the 13th, that was clearly evident when Secretary Ishii called me that morning about this offender. We knew exactly what to do. The relationships that we have, that we formed through our various task forces, we immediately activated and have worked nonstop for the last 3 days. The collaborative efforts and the partnerships that we all share, they're very meaningful, and they have stood and will continue to stand the test of time. And so, Sheriff, thank you for your partnership. FBI, thank you all. It was a collaborative effort, and we are, with the Marshal Service, glad to be a part of it. And I can't thank the men and women that represent the Marshal Service that work tirelessly to work towards this quick and peaceful resolution. I'd like to share with you all a quote of my good friend Sheriff Blackwood that he shared at the very first operational briefing, and I quote, "The right people are in the room," end quote. This quote not only energized and motivated all the law enforcement personnel who were present in the room, but it also instilled confidence in the public that our law enforcement community and our partners are going to work tirelessly to get the job done and to remove this dangerous offender from society. Thank you.
Thank you, Marshal. At this time, we're glad to take your questions. I'd ask you, if you have a question, please step to one of the two microphones at either side of the room. And if you'd like to direct a question to a certain individual on the stage, please let us know who that is.
Hi there, Heidi Kirk, WRAL News. Not sure if this is on. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm curious, other than Crisp, do you believe that there were any other accomplices? And also, can you describe the relationship that you may have uncovered between Alston and Crisp?
So it's our understanding that the relationship began several months ago between our inmate, who's now back in custody, and Jacobia. I will tell you that that relationship was by phone, mostly, and it was developed after he became incarcerated. As far as other folks that are involved, we certainly are investigating that and hope that we can answer those questions. Again, that goes back to my earlier statement that we want to find out the actual facts about what happened rather than speculation.
Hi, William Tong, News and Observer. I just wanted to ask, is there any indication right now of how the inmate was able to remove his leg restraints or any other information about the actual escape?
We do know that he successfully removed his leg restraints. How exactly that happened, we look forward to learning that during our internal investigation and after action review.
This microphone was not made for somebody who's short. Elena Athens from ABC 11. I believe it was the secretary who mentioned about a reward and the eligibility. How were law enforcement brought to that hotel? Was it someone who worked there? Was it a family member? I understand a search warrant was executed at his family's home.
Sure. So I don't want to get into the elements of how we were led to the hotel. I would just tell you that it was a combination of the resources between the FBI, the Sheriff's Office, the United States Marshal Service, and many of the different state agencies that you see here. So it was a collaborative effort, but I would not want to get into the details on how we were led there.
I did have one more question, if I might jump in also, sorry. Have any of those who were transporting him to that UNC facility, have any of them been placed on administrative leave as the department is reviewing this case?
Thank you. They have not been placed on administrative leave. We have reassigned them to other non-transportation duties while we walk through the internal investigation and the after-action review report. Thanks.
Hi, Giselle Thomas with WFMY News 2. Are you able to share any details as to why Mr. Alston kind of chose to stay within proximity? To our understanding, it seems like he didn't leave the state.
I want to make sure I understood the complete question, and that is why he stayed in the proximity. Because the resources that he had were not strong enough to get him out of the proximity. When you're running like that, you don't think straight. You shelter down. He felt like he was far enough away until he could make other arrangements, but it's only been 3 days, so he didn't have a lot of time to do that.
I do have a quick follow-up as well. For the woman that for the woman who was the accomplice or who were pointing with Miss Chris, I wanted to ask, because in the court records, it does show that she had posted her bond. So with her posting her bond, does that mean that she's going to be still coming back? I know you mentioned that she's going to be back in Orange County custody. Just wondering if she's able to be released, and she did post it.
So in the event that someone posts a bond, they're able to be released from detention. If they have a first appearance, they're bound to appear for that case. That's what the bond is, to ensure that they do appear for their next court date.
Hi, if it's all right, I had two other follow-up questions. Again, William Tong from the News and Observer. First, I wanted to ask what the estimated cost of this capture was, and second, if there were any changes to protocols for any of your agencies or operations that you have learned or has come out of this.
Thank you. We're not at the point where we've fully calculated all the costs. You know, there were several jurisdictions involved, and we'll do that. Second question, I just want to make sure I understood. Have we incorporated any changes? We are in the process of doing that. That's the after-action review will likely prompt changes and how can we do things safer and better. We've been consumed up until this morning with focused on apprehension of Alston.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, this is Jenna Gartner, Spectrum News. I have a question just a little bit about Crisp. And was she somebody that you guys had been following a little bit, had known about before you found out that he was down in Kannapolis, or did you guys receive tips once he was already there that kind of led you to find him further away?
Respectfully, that gets into a little bit about what we're talking about with our operations, and we don't want to delve too far into that now. Thank you.
Hi there, Heidi Kirk again, WRAL. Another question about CRISP specifically. I'm wondering if you have any indication as to whether, they were in communication, while he was in custody, leading up to, him getting out, or did they link up, post him escaping?
We're still reviewing that. That really tends to be part of both the criminal investigation and our internal. So, rest assured that that's something that we will be looking at, as we move our efforts forward, both with the criminal and with the after-action review. Our interest is to get better, to protect the public better, protect our staff better. So we will be working day and night. We started this morning on our after-action review. As soon as we woke up, the after-action review process started, and we're going to move very aggressively with that to get it to completion so that we can make things safer.
Could you go a little bit more in depth on what that after-action review looks like?
Sure. It's very common. We use it often following an incident. We are going to assemble a large team. This is a big incident, so we will have several staff from many different disciplines involved in that. They will be working over the course of the coming weeks to just review everything about the incident, analyze our policies. How can we make our policies better? Look at our practices. How can we still deliver community standard health care, but be safer and make sure that we do everything to ensure that something like this doesn't happen again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's take a question from Ben, and then we'll wrap.
Ben Boken, CBS 17. I think this question might be best for Sheriff, but can you describe, from what you've learned, what this relationship was like with Crisp and Ramon Alston? Based off of everything you've learned, can you describe how their relationship kind of developed?
I cannot describe what their relationship was. She's not in the detention center. He is. So we know it was through telecommunications of some sort. But how detailed that was, or whether that was something more than just a friendship, I can't answer that now. That is also something that's under investigation.
Is there any word on how they met?
Not this time.
can you describe really quickly the impact that all of this has had on your community?
I think the impact it's had on our community as a whole was that it heightened everyone's concern for safety. It also shined a spotlight on law enforcement. It also shined a law enforcement light on our prison systems. And one thing that we have to realize is that we operate sometimes in our own silos. What this operation has given us an opportunity to do is break down a lot of those silos and learn to work better together. And as we talk about the hot wash and after action reviews, so much has been learned about how to keep our community safer and how to make our public feel better about what we do. There's been a tremendous loss of respect for law enforcement over the past 10 years. But it's not just law enforcement. Society has lost respect for one another. And if I had a magic something to make this all be better, I would hope something good could come from this incident. But I think we've all worked very hard at this. And I think our community probably feels a little bit better about what we do and a little bit more about what we can offer to them as far as keeping them safe.
Thank you all, and thank you for your efforts in the media and helping us spread the word about this escape and get Alston back into custody. So we'll keep you informed as investigation progresses and things develop. But thank you all for being here.